welcome back to Build the Boys, and I have issue 116 of Hachette's Build the Titanic to finish out the month of May. We're finishing the remote control. Good. So there's, again, it was quite light work in the last one. In this one, a little bit more, I guess. It still looks pretty light, but at least it's then done. So the remote's then built at this point. We're done. And then next month, we've got a bit more electrics, but something else that definitely finishes next month, and we don't have to touch it again for a long time, is the hull. So the hull is not quite finished yet, but it will be finished in, I believe, issue 1, I want to say 19, 18, 19. 19, 20, 120. It's 120 we're finished. So we've got some electrics to do in the next one. We've got a bit more to do in the engine room in the next one. And we have the hull complete, where we're going to use beams to hold it together. If you would like to know what is coming in issue 117, it's going to be remarkably light work. We have the motherboard. So the motherboard's going in. Now, I can't see us putting wires into that. I think we're just going to screw it in place, because until we're ready to mount those decks, can't see it. We might test it, but I genuinely cannot see us, I can't see us wiring that up permanently. I just can't. But we'll see, won't we? I would imagine we're going to see if the remote works, because you're not going to find that out in this one either. Even if you put a battery in your remote at this point, which I wouldn't advise doing, you're not going to know if it works or not, because we have no sensors or anything to hand it to. So it's a bit weird. Right. Let's get this one open. Let's get this one built. At the end of this one, we'll be talking about a conman that was on board the Titanic. We'll call him a conman. That's what he was. Because not everybody that was on the Titanic was a decent human being. There were some scumbags, and we're going to talk about one of them at the end of this one. But without further ado, let's get this one open. Let's get this one built. Okay, so what comes inside 116? Let's take a look. Quite a lot. So we've got AP screws and EP screws. That one. Right, let's have a look at what we've got. Okay, that is the... Be conscious of this, because there's a little gold nut in there. So be conscious of that. You don't want to lose that. We've got a little gold nut. We've got the back of the remote. We have what will be the buttons of the remote. Now, those are solid plastic, which is good, instead of those rubbery ones that tend to buckle and wear. What's the battery cover, I believe? And this one here, we have... I believe it's the handle. It is. We got that piece there. And this one we have... I'm assuming this is... Yeah. It says on circuit board. It does have an on-off switch. That's quite reassuring. That means the battery's not just going to be constantly draining, which... Unfortunately, a lot of these part-work remotes do. You find out that even when it's turned off, the battery is still draining, and that's how you get leaky batteries, and that's not good. We have another one of those gold discs like we had in the last issue, and then I would imagine this is another black disc. But I could be wrong, but let's take a look. Black disc it is. Now, what's interesting with this one is, as I mentioned in the last one, you can see this here, the way this works. Well, it looks as though this handle is actually going to be functional. So by turning it, it's going to make different things happen. Have to wait and see, won't we? Right, let's get this one built. Okay, so bringing over the piece we made from the last one, we're going to turn this one over, and we're going to take our buttons. Now, you might think, do we have to cut those off the sprue? Nope, they're staying on. So these do not come off. These go straight in one piece like so. That's that done. Nice and easy. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to take the circuit board. So we take the circuit board here, and this is going to fold in. Now we have a light here. That light needs to come through this hole here, so this should, I hope. This is going to take some wiggling, I think. Definitely. Okay, that doesn't feel right at all. Oh, well, it's pressing buttons, so it does feel right. Okay, so that's there like that. Now we're going to hold this in place with AP screws. Right, position the circuit board inside the front of the remote. We've done that. Ensure the red light fits in the hole. Done that. And the large hole fits on the peg. Done that. Fix the board in place with 4 AP screws. Let's get the AP screws ready and get this one done. Okay, so that's how you should be looking. So all of that through there. Now we're going to put in 4 of the AP screws to hold this in place. Do not over tighten these screws, because if you do, you crack your board, and then this thing will never ever work. So we want these in to hold this in place securely, but you don't have to, it's not load bearing or anything. You just want it held. So once you feel that bite, you think, yep, that's in. Stop. One more over here. So that one. One more over here. And one more. And we will have all 4 in. There we go. That one there. Right, happy. Okay, so that's that in. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to fit the back of the remote control, and we're going to put in 4 more AP screws. So taking the back of the remote here, and pop that one over there. Make sure that switch comes through there. Hold that one down. I'm going to pop in 4 more AP screws, and the AP screws are going to go into 1, 2, 3, 4 those holes there. It's nice and simple. Let's get 4 more screws and let's get this done. I do like. I mean, it is a cute remote as remotes go. I think the winner of best remote of so far on Partworks for me is Knight Rider. If you haven't seen the Knight Rider model that's currently being offered through those we don't speak of, the remote control for that one is the watch. So if you can remember Michael Knight's watch in Knight Rider, well, the remote control for that one is the watch. I think that's the winner. But this is a close second for me. I like the fact that they've kept the ship controls there, and I think it's a cute looking one. It keeps with the theme. The Batman one is it's literally just a black remote control, and it could be for a television. It doesn't have nothing to it at all. But this is cute. This is kept with the theme, and I think I like that. Okay, one more. Again, the skull is plastics. Don't overscrew it. Tighten it, but don't overscrew it. So all you can do is just bore the plastic out, and it will never tighten at that point. Okay, next we're going to use the gold disc. So taking our gold disc here, that's going to slot over there. So that one goes in there like that. Next we're going to take the black disc. The black disc, finding those 3 holes. Slot over there like so. Make sure these are in. Yep. There's those. Now we take our battery cover. I'm not putting battery in it. I can't test it, so I don't need to. So the battery cover's over there. Now, turning this one over, that's how we're now looking. We're going to take the control handle, and we're going to fit this into there. Now there are 2 lugs in there. So we attach it, it'll only go in one way. Now we need to put a little screw in there. And we're going to hold it with an EP screw. Okay, so it's a decorative piece. It looks like a screw, it's not. It's going to drop in the middle there. You know what? I'm going to do this whilst it's not attached. That's going to be easier, I think. There we go. Now we're going to put an EP screw straight through the middle of that. Now, they do say, do not over tighten the screw as the handle must be able to move. Done it wrong. Done it completely wrong. We're not putting a screw through that. That's a screw cover. So let's poke that one out. Start again. Right, it's just a screw cover. we're screwing it this way first, right? Then we're using the screw cover. So it looks like a nut. It's not. It just pops in. Right. So let's screw this one, but don't over tighten. There we go. So that moves. Okay, so we have movement. That's good. I can feel right. I can feel something clicking inside as we do that as well, which is a good sign. Right, now we take the screw cover, put that one in there. Let's push that all the way down to make sure that doesn't go anywhere. Now they do say don't glue this in, right? So don't glue it in. But they say at a later stage you can glue the cover in place if necessary, but do not do this until you've checked that everything is working correctly. Details in the operation of the remote control will be supplied in a future issue. Makes sense. So that's where we are. That's what we've got. So we have got this. If you listen real careful, you can hear that spring's working there. And then it does the same thing on that side. I can hear this, it almost locks. So you have to pull against it to get it to do it. But I'm happy with that. So do those all click and return. So yep, I'm happy. So that is our Titanic remote. So we now know we've got it. So when it does come to fitting all these wires and whatnot, we're about to get it all to work. And as I said, it's got the on-off switch on the side there. We also have the power light, but we have lights, whistle, smoke, CQD, and SOS. Beautiful stuff. Let's have a chat. That's that one done. Nice and simple. We now have a remote control. It's gorgeous. Cute little thing. I mean, you can feel the click as well, so it's definitely doing something. I don't know what until we get it running. In the next one, as I said, put the motherboard in, so who knows? We might be able to try this sooner rather than later. I don't know, couldn't tell you. That's all for the build instructions. If you are just sticking around with the build instructions, thank you for stopping by. Please remember to like and subscribe. Helps us massively and love having you along for the journey. And we'd love you to be with us all the way to the end. With only 24 issues left to go, that's coming pretty soon. Those of you sticking around for our Titanic talk, well, not everybody on board the Titanic was lovely. Some of them were bloody horrible. And some of them were just scumbags, including this guy. You're thinking, who hell that? Well, that is Jack Britton, and he was a hustler, for lack of a better word. And he would find places where there were very affluent people that he would rope into his nefarious schemes and extort money from. And Titanic had a lot of very affluent people in one place. So you can try and find out what George actually did, but the trail that he leaves, and this is a good indication of somebody who's a bit shady. In one place, he's a business manager. Somewhere else, he's an accountant. Somewhere else, he didn't do anything. He was a scumbag. But he was looking to rope people into a racehorse, sharing a racehorse. There was no racehorse, but that's what he was on Titanic for. So he was looking. He was also hustling cards as well. So he was hustling a lot of the cards that were being played. That's just what he did. And it makes sense. You go somewhere where all the affluent people are, there's going to be money flying around, a lot of booze, a lot of money. But this is how scummy George is, right? So he survives. So he doesn't give his place up for a woman or a child. He saves himself. He survives. And before they'd even made it back to New York on the Carpathia, he'd already roped in 2 people into a horse racing scam. So capitalizing, he was like, oh, you might have lost money, but I know where you can make some money real easy with my racehorse. It's like, wow. So yeah, George never stopped, man. It's like evil doesn't take a day off. Even during all that tragedy, he was still hustling. It's like, wow. It caught up with him. He did a bit of bird 2 years after Titanic. He had tragedy as well. His wife and he lost a child 2 years after that, and just before George's incarceration, she took her own life, sadly, through mourning. George didn't. George lived on, and there's a trail of scummery. I mean, they say it was because of mourning. I mean, the reality is George married 4 weeks after she committed suicide, which gives you an idea of what kind of husband he was. He really didn't care. But he carried on doing what he was doing. He got caught multiple times, until eventually it all got a bit too much. And George shot himself. George took his own life, and it was because the heat was bearing down on him, and it looked like he was going to be doing a long time inside. So he chose his way out and he took it. But yeah, not everybody on board the Titanic was nice. They really weren't. And you got to think, we've discussed some before. There were some real rogues on the Titanic. That's what you're going to get. You put that many people on board, you're going to get a bad one. Statistically, they say 1 in every 500 men will commit a violent crime. 1 in every 500. So if you've got 3,500 people on board the Titanic, well, stands to reason you're going to have at least 5 wrong uns, aren't you? At least, probably more. But that's the way it is. So we've spoken about a few of them, but I've got another one whose tale will astound you, which we'll talk about next month. You don't hear him mentioned much, but he was on board the Titanic, and it's quite a dark tale. But we'll talk about that next month, when we will be doing, as I've mentioned before, but I will just wrap it up once again. Next month, what we are doing is we are putting the motherboard in. Now, I don't know where it goes. As I said, I don't know if it goes into the deck. I don't know if it goes into the hull. Couldn't tell you. If it goes in the hull, it goes in the deck. One or the other. We're doing that. We are putting on the bulkheads for the engine room. So those are going in. And we're putting I've got to watch how I say this, the deck head on top of the engine room. So it'll be an encased room. So those of you that are worried about seeing the hull, you're not going to. It's all going to be nicely encased. And then the last one, so 120, we put on the remaining support beams for the hull. And they say the hull is then complete. They've said that before. I don't think the hull's complete without the rudder. Is the rudder coming in 121? I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't. It would make sense to me that it does. Then we're kind of done with that. That would make... That'll be logic. That would make sense to me, because we are getting to that point now. I was speaking to my friend Mark about this. We are getting to that point where there's very little left to build. We've got the poop deck to build to go on the back. So we have got a whole deck missing that's got to go on the back. And we do have the mast, the rigging, things like that, the telegraph wires. Those have all got to go on. We've got I think 4 cranes we haven't built yet. We have some bits for the forecastle. We of course have the yellow trim that goes all the way around. We have the side panel. So there's still a bit to build, but we are getting to that point where nothing major to build. We're going to have to start bolting this together. It's going to have to happen. And it will, because as I said, we got 20 left. And then we are literally, full steam ahead. So not long now. Thank you for stopping by. That's all from me. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. Please remember to like and subscribe. It helps us massively, and we really do appreciate your support. I'll be back with more stuff from... I've got loads from Building with the Boys. I'm still playing catch up. But we've got a lot to come. I've got Lancaster, I've got Dizzy Doll's House, I've got Roker builds, I've got Row Life builds, I've got Fun Hole build, I've got J&M Bricklayer build, I've got Infinity Gauntlet. I've got a lot to get through. So stick in for it. It's gonna be good. Until then, take care. I'll see you soon.